say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right. First and foremost, we would like to thank each and every one of you individually and all of you together once again collectively for the co-creation of this interaction. Each and every time you allow such interactions to occur, it forms a link, a bridge, a connection between our respective civilizations, and creates a third reality, a new reality, in which we can both interact in a new and powerful way. So we thank you for the gift of allowing us to experience through each and every one of you that many more unique facets of the multidimensional crystal of creation. This is a gift for us. We would like to begin this transmission, this day of your time, with the following idea, which we have entitled Resonance and Reflection. The idea we have discussed many times, of course, is that everything is about resonance, vibration, frequency of consciousness, frequency of energy. There is, of course, in creation, fundamentally, only one thing. All that is, the one. But the idea is that it can create itself to be, to appear as, to experience itself as many different things by creating different frequencies within its consciousness, different vibrations, different waveforms within its consciousness. And these different waveforms, these different signature vibrations, thus then create the experience within all that is of many different things. In a sense, thus then, all of you, all of us, all beings in creation are all the different ways that creation has of interacting with itself, of experiencing itself, of reflecting itself to itself from an infinite number of points of view in order to experience all that it is from every different possible direction, from every different possible perspective. The idea here, though, in the diagrams that you've all been handed, is that this illustration represents the level that you call the concept of physical reality and how you actually create that idea, that experience with your consciousness, with your particular unique aspect of all that is. You will see on the diagram that there is the idea, of course, that everything starts with the central source, the dot at the center. We will skip many different levels in this particular diagram just to simplify this illustration for the purposes of what we are speaking of this day of your time. So let us jump right from the source to the idea that the first circle is what you might euphemistically call your individual soul, your spirit per se. Now, of course, as we have described previously, the idea is that the soul, being a split off from what might be called the oversoul, which is a collection of all sorts of different unique soul experiences that can have many different incarnations simultaneously in what you call the physical reality experience. The soul, in a sense, is analogous to unfired clay. You create the unique soul for the unique journey, for the unique experience of the person that you will create yourself to be incarnationally, but it doesn't really become a spirit that is unique to that persona until you have actually fed that soul the experience of your life. So the experience you are having in physical reality is like taking the unfired clay and shaping it into a particular utensil, firing it, and thus creating the ceramic, the hard, glistening, clear ceramic that thus then becomes the spirit that is unique, a unique expression of the experience had in that particular lifetime as a physical being. But the idea here is that as this soul spirit thus then, in a sense, receives waveforms, information, energy from the central source of all that is, in having the desire, in choosing the experience of physical reality, it will create a physical mind, a physical personality that we have likened to the idea of a three-sided prism, hence the representation of the triangle, which represents the physical mind, the filter, so to speak, through which the solar spirit will express itself in the physical experience. This triangle, this prism, breaks down the unbroken white light of the source into the various frequencies that are representative of the physical mind, which are the belief systems or definitions, the blueprint, in a sense, of your physical reality, the emotions, which in the sense is the activation energy, emotion, energy, motion of your physical reality manifestations, and the thought patterns and behaviors, in a sense, that also go hand in hand and are reflective of those emotions and those belief system definitions, thus creating the person, the behavior, the expression in physical terms that is created to experience, to have the experience, what you might call the ego structure, which is created to have the focus that keeps you focused in physical reality experience, so you can feed that physical reality experience back to the soul or spirit, and it can grow from that experience, having this unique adventure in what you call physical reality. But we have also talked about the idea that in order to be a complete person in physical reality, it requires not only the physical mind, but what in a sense is created to remain in non-physical reality, which we have termed on your planet the higher mind, which thus then, by being balanced in relationship with the physical mind, allows you to function in a balanced relationship as a whole person in your physical reality experience, in your physical reality adventure. But the idea is that this higher mind serves many particular functions, many specific functions. And we have spoken in the past of many of these functions and many of these relationships of the higher mind to the physical mind. But now we will allow you to understand, now we will share with you one more specific function that the higher mind has that we have not really discussed before. However, we have mentioned this idea in general many times, though we have not discussed it or spoken of it specifically. And it comes from the idea that we have talked about, that when you create this physical persona, and when you create the emotions and the beliefs and the thought patterns and behaviors to be of a certain content, a certain frequency, that determines utterly the reality experience you have that you call physical. Because we have said many times that physical reality is like a mirror. It's a reflection. And in a sense, it's not really that there's anything out there. There really is no physical reality out there. That's an illusion. But it functions like a mirror, so that you have a feedback mechanism, a reflection to let you know that the reality you're experiencing is absolutely reflective of the belief systems, the emotions, and the thought patterns, the behaviors that you have arranged, the frequencies of those things that you have created in your physical personality. So that the outer idea, the outer reality, or the appearance of the outer reality acts as a guidepost, acts as a marker, acts as a signpost for what it is you are choosing to believe is true, because what you believe is true is what you're putting out as a vibration, and what you put out as a vibration is what's reflected back to you by the physical reality in any number of symbolic and representative ways. As we have said, physical reality is very much literally like a mirror. And you know that when you see your reflection in a mirror, that if you have a frown on your face, you know you don't go over to the mirror and try to change the expression on the face of the reflection. You know that will never work. There's not really anything over there. That's not really you out there. That's an illusion. It's a reflection. But you know that if you change the frown on your face to a smile, you will also know that the reflection will have absolutely no choice but to smile back. But you have to smile first. You cannot wait for the reflection to smile before you do, before you decide to be happy. If you decide to be happy, the reflection will reflect that back. But as we have for many, many, many years now talked about the idea that physical reality is a reflection, it seems very interesting that none of you have actually asked, Bashar, yes, what is actually doing the reflecting? Oh, that's a very interesting question. Because if there's really nothing out there, what is actually reflecting back these experiences to us? Oh, that is also a very good question. What is reflecting back is your higher mind. Your higher mind, in a sense, vibrationally creates the effect of wrapping or surrounding or encasing or immersing your physical personality in a bubble of energy, a frequency, a particular frequency that allows the higher mind to actually function as a reflective surface, as a mirror. The higher mind mirror is what is actually reflecting the vibration of the personality structure back to itself in order to get the experience you call physical reality, and makes it seem, by the particular frequency that it is operating on, by the particular signature vibration it is actually operating on, makes it seem as if that reflection is actually outside of you, when in fact all of that's actually going on inside your consciousness. But the higher mind, by choosing that particular frequency, by being designed that way, makes it appear as if, creates the illusion in your consciousness that everything is actually being projected around you holographically. That's why it's an illusion. But it is the higher mind that actually functions as the reflective mirror for you within your consciousness, within the overall makeup of your signature vibration. One aspect, one of the equations in that overall signature vibration is the specific frequency of the higher mind acting as a mirror, so that you can have this physical reality reflection experience that you think is so solid, but is not solid at all. And this is why you can always use the idea of your outer reality to gauge what you are creating your personality to be. Because if you see this simple diagram as a circuit, in a sense, with the energy coming from the source through your soul, through the filter of your personality, and then going through the idea of that vibration of the higher mind mirror and being reflected back to you what it is that your personality is experiencing, whether it is in balance, out of balance, whether it is in alignment with your true core source self or out of alignment, whether it is in alignment creating joy, love, creativity, excitement, passion, or whether it is out of alignment creating fear, doubt, lack of self-worth issues, anger, all these ideas. Because that's all it is. It's simply a filter, filtering your energy. And by the experiences you have, reflecting to you whether you're holding on to beliefs and blueprints that are out of alignment with that core essence or in alignment with that core essence. So you always have this gauge. You always have this way of telling exactly where you are on your own path, which is you, because you are a path. And thus then you can use the higher mind this way and be in relation with the higher mind this way to know that it is always constantly feeding back to you what it is you're giving off, very precisely in a variety of ways. Now, of course, as we have said, this does not mean that every single situation is always interpreted as a, shall we say, exact mirror image or an exact echo. But the idea is that anything that's happening in your reality has some degree of relevance for you, or it would be happening to someone else. When you interact with someone else and you create your version of them in your reality, and they create their version of you in their reality in order to have the experience of that interaction in physical reality, you are both also getting the reflections from your source through your physical personality filters to the higher mind mirror and getting that reflection back to each other. And that reflection contains your version of the other person as part of the overall equation being reflected back to you, as part of the overall vibration being reflected back to you. And that's why when you interact with someone else, it's also an indication, to varying degrees, depending upon the reason for the interaction, it's also an indication of something you need to learn about yourself, as well as for the other person needing to learn something about themselves. Because all you're actually seeing is a reflection of yourself taking their form, in a sense. This doesn't discount the existence of the other consciousness, of the other being. But the idea is that you're creating your version of them out of your own energy, in your own reflection, in your own reality. And thus it's always colored, in a sense, by your filtering system, by what it is that that person represents to you, as you are always colored by what you represent to the other person. So in that sense, you are always interacting, even when you're interacting with another being, you're always interacting not only with that other being, but always with a reflection, an aspect, a perspective, a point of view of yourself. And it is up to you to have the discernment to recognize what is being related to you, what is relevant in this interaction that will allow you to become more aware of more of who you are as that being, as that fuller being, that greater being, that more aligned, harmonious, creative, loving, passionate being. Every relationship is for the purpose of everyone in the relationship helping the other people in the relationship learn more about who they are and grow in that way. You always give others an opportunity to learn more about themselves as you give others an opportunity to learn more about themselves by using this reflective modality, by using this personality construct reflection device. The idea, therefore, is allow yourself in your own timing, in your own comfort zone, at your own pace, to use this diagram, to ponder this diagram, to understand the idea of the filtration that goes on in your personality structure, the prism of your three-sided personality structure, and seeing that it goes out to the higher mind, which then feeds it back to you, echoes it back to you, as a reflection that always gives you the opportunity to know you are constantly in communication with your higher mind. You are never cut off from the higher mind. If you were, everything around you would be absolutely, utterly gone, utterly blank. Your physical reality reflection is itself, therefore, a communication, constant communication from the higher mind mirror, always reflecting back to you exactly what state you're in and always giving you an opportunity to decide whether that state is what you prefer or whether you wish to change it. You have a constant automatic feedback guidance mechanism from the higher mind. This diagram shows you exactly how it works in terms of your linear structure of space-time, but it is all going on, all of it, within your own consciousness. There is nothing outside. So you, in that sense, have always got the opportunity to understand, to feel that vibration, to, shall we say, balance it out, to use that reflection to guide you, to align with what it is you prefer, to let go of what it is you don't prefer that doesn't work for you, and to move forward in your life and expand in your life stronger, stronger and stronger in order to fire that unfired clay of the soul into the beautiful ceramic spirit that will, to the best of its ability, be representative of the great joy of you experiencing the ecstasy of being your fullest possible self in your physical reality experience, because that transformation from the soul to spirit, in a sense, is what this journey and adventure is all about. And that's why the process is the destination. That's the point. You, each and every one of you, have exactly the same purpose, the same mission in life. It can be expressed in an infinite number of different ways, unique ways, but you all have the same purpose and the same mission, and that is to be yourself as fully as you can, because that is who you were made to be, and you are the unique aspect, the unique facet of creation that you were created to be. And without you, without your unique difference, all that is cannot be all that is. Does that make sense? All right. When you wish to meditate on the permission slip diagram you have been given, and remember that any tool, any technique, including this one, is just a permission slip, that if it works for you, use it. If it doesn't, you'll find something else. But it is fundamentally connected to a very simplistic diagram of how this works in terms of your consciousness relation. And thus then, if you meditate on this, it can help you allow yourself to remember, as a permission slip, more of who you are by allowing you, with your current belief systems, to give yourself permission to be all that you are, as best as you can, with zero expectation as to what the outcome needs to be. Allow yourselves the freedom to experience ecstasy. Allow yourselves the freedom to choose to act on your passion to the best of your ability, taking it as far as you possibly can until you can take it no further every moment of your life, with absolutely no expectation of what the outcome should be, because your higher mind will bring you, as another one of its functions, whatever the outcome, whatever the manifestation is that is truly representative of the high state of vibratory ecstasy that you can choose to exist in forever, if you wish. It's up to you. But do not discount the challenges that you have. Do not discount the processes that you go through. Do not discount your ability to have chosen to experience this transformation from limitation to freedom, from darkness into light, because that experience is what the physical reality on your planet is really all about. And the fact that you chose to experience a reality with so many others where you are, in fact, learning to transform great limitation to freedom, great darkness into light, means you are strong enough to do so. Remember, your earth is not a kindergarten. It's a master class of transformation. You are all master beings. It's just now that you're going through the process of remembering that. So the more you allow yourself to remember that, the more you allow yourself to know that that's true, then because knowing and action are synonymous, the more you know that's true, the more you will behave as if that's true. The more you behave as if that's true, the more reflections you will see from the higher mind that that is the reality that is true for you, and that's the experience you will have that you call your physical life. Ecstatic, never-ending series of explosive, ecstatic synchronicities. That's how it works, if you wish it to. If you wish it to be more difficult, by all means, create it to be that way. We will never stop you from choosing difficulty, because that is your freedom to choose as well. We are simply, by your invitation, willing to remind you that everything is fundamentally simple and that your life can be a simple joy. Let it be so if you desire that, if that's what you prefer. It's up to you. Completely, utterly up to you. In return for the gift you are giving our civilization now and experiencing all of you in this way during this transmission, I ask, in what way may we